Social networking is how more than 50% of Americans over 50 find new friends, date, or find new romantic partners. But knowing how to surf the web safely is important and can not only protect your heart, but your money too.
Good evening and welcome to this month's edition of Rural America Live with AARP. I'm Christina Loren, and we also welcome our listeners joining us tonight on Rural Radio Sirius XM Channel 147. Tonight, we're going to share tips on how to play it safe when surfing social networking sites, from online dating to social clubs. Do you know how to create a safe online profile or how to spot a fake one? We're going to cover the do's and don'ts. And we want to hear from you. You are a big part of this show. Our question of the month is, have you or someone that you know used the internet to find new friendships or to join a social network? And we are giving away a Yeti cooler to 4 lucky on-air callers tonight. If you are caller number 1, 4, 7, or 10, you will win our 2020 giveaway. And you don't need to be a member of AARP or over the age of 50 to win. As a friendly reminder, though, you can only win one time each calendar year. Give us a call right now, 877-283-7570, and join our conversation. We're ready to take your calls, and good luck on that giveaway. Joining us tonight, AARP Director for Oklahoma, Sean Boskell, and AARP fraud expert, Amy Knopfziger. Love having both of you on the show. Welcome back.
Good to be here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. And you know what? We're kicking things off, right? We have a couple special guests with us. We're going to talk about that coming up.
Excited.
It's an action-packed show. But you know what? Let's not bury the lead. Let's get to it. Talk about the special guests who are going to be joining us tonight.
I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the Elk Ridge Boys.
It's quite possible they have, especially in rural America. We have 2 of them joining us tonight. Dwayne Allen, Joe Bonsall. They are with us right now.
In studio.
In studio. You're going to have a chance to call in and speak with them tonight. You can talk to them about their experience. This is something that's very near and dear to them as well. They've joined forces with the Department of Justice and the AARP Fraud Watch Network to help educate consumers about fraud and abuse, especially when it comes to targeting older Americans. Now, February, it's been designated Romance Month. AARP conducted a survey around the subject of online relationships. People are looking for love and they're looking online. But what did AARP discover when it comes to older Americans and online relationships?
Well, you know, first of all, the whole area of imposter scams are a big drain on so many of our unsuspecting consumers that are out there, and whether it's a governmental scam where there's Social Security or perhaps census scams coming about, or IRS, and then there's a grandparent scam. The big kahuna is the online romance scams. They have taken the most money and victimized so many people in devastating ways. And so we wanted to look at that a little more closely tonight, because it's a really big ticket item for a lot of people. And so we've got a great survey that just was released, and 27% of people say they know someone or have encountered a person online through a relationship scam.
Wow.
And that's a big one.
27%.
I know, that's a big number. The other important statistic we have is 11% of people have been victimized by an online relationship scam or know someone who has.
Yeah, and I was going to say, one of the things that we also found out with this survey, but we also know this from the countless victim stories that we hear on the Fraud Watch Network helpline, is that a lot of the victims have experienced a negative life event, such as a job loss, maybe the death of a spouse or a loved one. You know, something really negative made them more vulnerable to one of these romance scams. We also found out, because these scams are so financially and emotionally devastating as well, is that 53% of the victims that we talked to then had a negative or emotional event after the scam.
Wow.
I mean, I've talked to people who can't sleep, who their health changes because of their victimization. So these scams are horrible. So I'm happy to be here and talk about the red flags of them.
You know, being lovesick is a very real thing. And when you meet someone online and they're saying all the right things and you're in a position where you want to be loved, it's really hard in many cases to not fall victim. What types of people are they looking for? Are they searching for anyone in particular, or will they try to prey on anybody?
They'll really try to prey on anybody. And they know what triggers to push for you. So sometimes they'll find out if you're a religious person and then they're a religious person. We've even had victims on some of those social, like online games, like Words with Friends. And so they find this bond with you over your love of games, but they'll do anything to steal from you.
And I understand you have one more
We do.
strong
and, you know,
statistic.
it's important that we determine whether Cupid is a con artist. And that's really important. So another important statistic is 17% say a friend or a romantic partner whom they've only met online have asked them to help them financially in some way.
17%.
So asking for a little money, for a little help.
Wow, and you know, we're hearing a lot of these situations online, and the criminals are getting smarter. They're using pictures. I recently saw a story about a crook who was using a picture of an armed serviceman and posing as someone who was serving overseas to try to get somebody to fall in love with them. And they're very good with their language as well.
Oh, absolutely. And just like what you said, they'll steal legitimate pictures of people. So we've heard definitely servicemen and women that they're stealing their photos of. We've also heard of models or voiceover talents, their pictures. Even real estate agents' pictures are getting stolen to add credibility to this. I know later in the show we're going to go through some of the red flags of it and how you can protect yourself and check out these pictures to make sure they're legitimate or not.
Well, I'm sure everybody who's joining us, whether it be by radio, if you're watching us online, maybe you're watching us on the YouTube feed for AARP Live, this is pulling at heartstrings. I mean, I don't know anybody who hasn't been the victim of some sort of online fraud. So we're going to talk a little bit, or at least people trying to make them a victim. We want to make sure that people are prepared. We want to arm you with knowledge tonight, and that's what we're going to do. And one area that we really want to focus on right now is how these criminals prefer to be paid, because that can be a big red flag.
So one of the most preferred methods of payment right now that we're hearing that the scammers want are the prepaid gift cards. We see these every day when we go into the grocery store or the drugstores. That is how they want to be paid because it's virtually untraceable. So a huge red flag, if anybody ever asks you to pay for something, whether it's someone that you just fell in love with, or like what you were saying earlier, Sean, with the imposter scams, you know, the government does not take prepaid gift cards. Nobody should be getting these prepaid gift cards except if you're giving them as a gift to a friend or family member. They even have some warning signs. We just showed it on the screen. Pay attention to those and make sure to share with your friends and families about these gift cards because they're kind of a new currency of fraud, so to speak. And they weren't around, you know, even 5-10 years ago. So there's a lot of people out there that don't even know what they're for.
Okay, well, we are just getting this conversation started, and we haven't even brought in the special guest just yet, but we're going to. We have a lot of ground to cover in tonight's show, but we're going to pause for a quick break so that we can bring in those special guests. The Oak Ridge Boys, Joe Bonsall, Dwayne Allen, they are here, and they're going to share why scams against older Americans are an issue that they are standing up against for personal reasons. We want you to join the conversation as well tonight. Have you ever been the target of a scam? Maybe you have some advice to share. 877-283-7570. We still have Yeti coolers to give away, and you might just be a lucky winner tonight. It's an action-packed show. 877-283-7570. We're going to add your phone conversation, your calls to the conversation after this. Stay with us. Let's bring in the Oak Ridge Boys. All right, guys. Oh, I had a 5. Yep. Okay. Everybody on the phone, this is Christina Loren. Just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're in a commercial break right now, but I want to let you know that we're going to take live phone calls as soon as we return to the show. We've got two of the Oak Ridge boys on set with us right now. You want to say hi, guys?
Hi, everybody.
You'll have an opportunity to talk to them if that's what you'd like to do. And we have Yeti coolers to give away, so please stay on the line. And just a friendly reminder, turn down your TV set. If we're going to take your call on the air, we don't want that feedback, so make sure you turn down that TV set.
If you have a poor credit history, scammers will use this opportunity to offer phony promises of a quick credit fix. Here are 4 warning signs you're being targeted by a credit repair scam. A credit repair company says it can get bad debt off your credit record, guarantee a better credit score, or give you a new credit identity. It can't. The company tells you to give false information on a loan application. This is illegal. You're asked to dispute information in your credit report that you know is accurate. The company tells you not to contact the credit bureaus yourself. Take the right steps to fix your credit history. Contact a trustworthy credit counseling organization. Credit counselors can help you create a plan to manage your debts. For more scam prevention tips, go to aarp.org/FraudWatchNetwork. And make sure to tune in to RFD-TV the 3rd Thursday of each month for Rural America Live with AARP.
Welcome back to Rural America Live with AARP. Our show tonight, how to stay safe online while navigating social networks. And there are a number of scams that are making the rounds this time of year, like this one.
Hey there, thanks for calling us back. The reason we called you was to give you information on an open opportunity for a better job or a way to make some extra side cash without having to drive people around town or deliver food as if you would with Uber, Postmates, DoorDash, or Lyft. Our opportunity allows motivated people to earn up to $500 a day from home by just using their computer. That's right, $500 a day, flexible hours, possible bonuses, and more.
If it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is. And just like that, fraudsters are finding new and improved ways to come after your hard-earned money. Now, we want to hear from you tonight. Have you been targeted by scammers? Let us know. 877-283-7570. We have Yeti coolers to give away to lucky callers 1, 4, 7, and 10. Pick up the phone. Our lines are open, 877-283-7570, and join the conversation. And joining us once again, we have Sean Voskuhl, AARP State Director for Oklahoma, Amy Knopfziger, AARP fraud expert, and now we welcome Joe Bonzel and Dwayne Allen of the Oak Ridge Boys.
Hello,
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christina. Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Great
And
work
with
here
that
today.
Yeti, you got a new Oak Ridge Boys album.
Oh, they're
Sweeten
up
the
in the
pot.
ante tonight.
I'm here for the Yeti.
Very nice, very nice. So yeah, not only if you are a lucky caller, you're going to get a CD as well. Okay, yes. Let's talk about this. I think our viewers are very familiar with your music, but they might be wondering about your passion for fighting fraudsters. How did you get involved with AARP?
Well, it started out with a commercial. We were asked to do a public service announcement by AARP and the Department of Justice, the Justice Department. And we agreed to it. We thought that was a great idea. And so we shot this wonderful commercial wherein we're warning people about frauds, especially as it relates to the elderly, which is AARP is doing such a great job of it with their AARP Fraud Watch Network. And after it was all over, we kind of asked, well, how can we do more? What can we do more? We'd like to be more involved if that's possible. So they made a spokesman for the whole project. And we did a big press conference in Oklahoma. That's you were there. Everything was great. Yeah, it was a fabulous night. And here we are with you here talking about this subject that's very, very important in this day and age. And AARP Magazine is going to do a feature on the Oak Ridge Boys, so we got something nice out of it in return. and we hope we're doing a little good along the way here. You know, we were talking about it off camera, and you were kind enough to say the Oak Ridge Boys always seem to be trying to help people. I think our philosophy is very simple. We've been around a long time singing together, all four of us, with William, Lee, and Richard, and Dwayne and I. And I guess we feel like a group like ourselves can affect people in one of three ways, either positively, negatively, or not at all. And we just choose to be positive. And we are AARP members now. We're not the young kids on the block anymore. So we identify with this. Some of our own families have been affected.
I think you judge an artist's career by how they pass it along. And this is a period of time where we enjoy passing it along. But we've done that our whole career. Kind of started back in our gospel days when we were taught to tithe a tenth, and we kept that up. We didn't make a big deal about it, but we've always had a charity part of the Oak Ridge Boys all our entire career so that we could give back. And this is what we're doing right now. And I think probably having some friends who have experienced fraud over the telephone, like a family member recently.
Wow.
It really came home to me. And when this opportunity came, I had firsthand information of what it feels like.
Well,
The crazy thing is how much of it is out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you like to think, well, you know, it won't affect me. It may not affect my family. It won't affect my neighborhood. You know, somebody, what a shame, they've been scammed. But it's happening all the time, and there's so many avenues. You guys discussed just a little bit of it. You were talking about that credit card thing. We shot some things just yesterday for AARP, and one of those was had to do with the romance angle and somebody being snookered into the fact that, well, man, this guy's in love with me, and now he ain't got no money, though. And it says, you know, you can go get one of those Visa cards for $500 and send it to me, and I'll make my way there, and we'll get together, and we'll do dinner, we'll get to know each other, and he vanishes with a $500 Visa card that you cannot trace. These are bad people.
They're really bad people.
They're bad people, and they're out there.
They are out there, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, and we really appreciate the credibility that you lend, sharing a personal story.
Thank you, Christine.
That really hits home. Okay, Gary from North Carolina, you are first up. You're a winner tonight. Congratulations. Go right ahead.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
Hello,
do a
Gary.
question or a comment?
So the question I have is, I am 51 years old. I am a AARP member, but is it common for someone like 51 years old to be scammed? And the reason why I ask that is because, you know, I grew up with technology. I grew up in the 90s. I'm 51 years old, and this seems, you know, I should know this stuff. But is it common for someone that's like 51 years old to be scammed? You know, I guess you want to say on a daily basis. That's my question.
Yeah, great question, Gary. Yes, I can't emphasize that enough. Yes, anybody of any age can be a victim. I will say older adults sometimes are targeted more because they hold the majority of wealth, right? So the bad guys go where the money is. But on the Fraud Watch Network helpline, we take calls from victims every day. We've had them as young as, I kid you not, 13 years old. Someone got scammed and called us for help. So that's why this information is so important for anyone of any age. And you said yourself that you know a lot of this stuff. Make sure to share it with everyone in your life, because that's how we're going to fight this. I mean, that's why we're working with the Oak Ridge Boys, is because everybody can share this information.
Well, and I think the recent survey results show that 50% of Americans, adult Americans, have been targeted by just imposter scams. So, I mean, that's just a testament that no one's safe, regardless of age.
That's right, and they're getting
it's
smarter.
also very important to report it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
To report it to local law enforcement. There are numbers. I'm sure you've got them on the screen. There's a way to get in touch with AARP Online, with AARP Fraud Watch Online, and the Justice Department, the FBI. I mean, everybody is gathering up together right now to try to fight this thing. That's why we're all here.
That's right.
So you need to report it. If you think you've been scammed, you can stop a scam. I think we used that yesterday in our ads.
I think
that we
you did.
You can. I mean, this is a great
Scam, stop a scam.
opportunity.
Yes.
Call in, share the scams. I mean, you're the best way for us to all share this information. It's really important to get out there. And so give us a call, 877-283-7570. Okay, we're going to go back to the phones. Jane from Texas, you are next up. Go right ahead.
Hello, Jane.
Hi. Hello, how are you all tonight?
We're good. Texas, my home state.
I know. Well, I'm 80, and I'm not interested in anyone. I've been a widow almost 5 years, and I have a motto.
What is that?
Men, they're either interested in a purse or a nurse.
That might have to be our new tagline.
That's a good one, Jane.
That's what I would call your refusal script. That is your way off of the phone or out of that chat room. But it's interesting that you say that you're not interested. One of the things we're finding out, and Sean, I don't know if this has come across your way, that we're finding out about these romance scams, is that you can be online and not necessarily be looking for love, but still be contacted in kind of a friendship way, like I said earlier with the Words with Friends. But a lot of these are coming through social media, and they're claiming to have known you from like elementary school, and they just want to befriend you. So you're not really even looking for love, you're just looking for companionship and friendship, and then again, they're asking for the gift cards.
Yeah, and then they'll take it deeper as well to try to get you hooked.
There are those who look at the obituary columns.
Oh yeah.
And they look at those who have just become single again, and they get in touch with them, and they put their move on while they are grieving. And we have a friend in Georgia that went through that just recently.
Wow.
And broke his heart when he was he caught on just in time.
You say his heart too.
Yeah.
It's not just the women.
No, absolutely not.
It can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
You just have to be aware and be on your toes.
Yep. Okay, we're going to go back to the phones. We have a familiar caller on the line. It's Patrick Gotch of RFD-TV. He wants to join the conversation. Thanks for joining us, Patrick. Go right ahead.
Hey, Christina. Good night. Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to thank AARP for all these great shows they're doing to help the older viewers. You know, we've really embraced the older viewer for a long time, and really appreciate the Oak Ridge boys coming in tonight to support it. One of the questions I would have for the AARP folks is, why isn't more being done in Washington, D.C. to outlaw these scams or these phone calls? I mean, I get 10 phone calls a day now that I know are scams, and but they're relentless. They don't give up. What's being done in Washington, D.C.?
Do you know much about the legislation, about the
Well,
robocall that was just passed in Congress?
Yeah, the Trace Act.
Yes.
So it passed both the Senate and the House, I believe, and I believe it's on the president's desk if I'm not mistaken, but it's going to pass. And what that's going to do is that's going to really help cut down on the robocalls, because there's all this kind of technological stuff behind it. But what it's really going to do is it's going to make that phone number that you get be identified as kind of a real phone number, because how the scammers use it is they spoof the phone number. That's why oftentimes when you look at your caller ID, it has like your prefix, your area code and your prefix, and you think, oh, it's my neighbor, or oh, it's my friend, and so I pick it up. That's just a spoof. So that will really cut down on that.
And in some state legislatures, like in Oklahoma, we're looking to beef up the penalties to enable our Attorney General to levy bigger fines regarding these robocalls that are fraudulent. So there is some good news on the federal level and some enabling.
Yeah, and I will say that regardless of the laws and everything, it still is a lot of our responsibility to stay safe and to know the red flags. And one of the best pieces of advice I give to consumers is, if you do not absolutely know who is calling, don't pick up the phone and let it go to voicemail. People will say, well, what if it's my doctor? What if it's my so-and-so? They'll leave a message and you can call them back. But that's a great barrier to put you between you and the scammer, is that voicemail.
That's what we do at home.
Yeah.
We just, I mean, the phone rings off the hook all day. We have one lane line at home now because most people use cell all the time.
Yeah.
But I've even found on my iPhone, I get phone numbers calling me that are almost similar to my own phone number.
Exactly.
You think it's a neighbor?
That happened to me today.
Yeah.
And I started getting the phone calls. My wife yelled into the kitchen where I was, said, "Don't answer that one, that's a spook." And it was almost like our phone number and had Tennessee on it. That was their ID, Tennessee. She said, "Don't answer that, that's a spook." So I didn't answer it. They called at least 5 times today.
And you're right, and I think it's important for people that do this, that are hounded with these calls, to realize that if it is a family member, if it is the doctor, if it is your appointment at the dentist the next day, they're going to leave you a message.
Yep,
That's right.
absolutely.
And I know my wife we never answer it. We sit there on the couch and listen to it ring.
But how good does it feel to know that the Oak Ridge boys, just like us, are getting these calls?
All the time.
No discrimination, is there?
Yeah.
No discrimination.
And you know, the other thing is, on an iPhone now, it's very easy to block. You know, you get a call you don't know, you hit the info thing on the end, it comes up block caller, block caller. But I must have 150 block callers, and they still keep coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you stop them, but more legislation would help.
Yeah.
That robocall thing's exciting.
And cooperation with telephone companies as well is strictly
absolutely.
important. They need to. They've got skin in the game, and they need to come forward too.
Another thing we've noticed by being a part of this is how involved attorneys generals are getting. Yes, we've met with many attorney generals. You have a wonderful one in Oklahoma. And here just recently we had an attorney general come to one of our shows in Kansas, and we talked with him for a while, and it seems like people are tuning into this, and it can only pay dividends
And we're
down
all
the road.
talking and working together.
Yeah.
That's what needs to be done. It's going to take a village. Okay, 877-283-7570. That is the number to call. Join the conversation. It's a rare opportunity. You can call in and have a conversation with an Oak Ridge boy. We'd love to hear from you tonight.
And win a CD.
And
Win a 17th Avenue Revival CD that was recorded right across the street from where we are today at RCA Studio A.
And speaking of which, Beverly is a winner. Beverly of Illinois, thanks for joining us. You get the Yeti cooler and the CD. Go right ahead.
Hey, Beverly.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you, Bev.
Okay. I'm concerned. I was scammed in someone offering to help me get out of a timeshare that I was unhappy with.
Oh, wow.
Boy, that timeshare thing got a groan, didn't it?
Yeah. I have a feeling I'm not alone.
Yeah, you're absolutely not alone, Beverly. Timeshare resale scams are definitely in our top 10, and there's a lot of there's just a lot of loss with that. And oftentimes with older people, especially, maybe they're not as easy to travel and they can't use their timeshare. So then they get this phone call from someone saying, "Oh, they have a buyer for your timeshare. The only thing we need you to do is just wire us the handling fees," or whatever it is, and then you're out that money. So if you're looking to, get rid of your timeshare, my best advice is start with who you bought it from first. You can always call the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline, and our volunteers can help you with that process of finding some phone numbers for you, but always start with who you bought it from first.
Amy, what about, and I thought this may be a scam, I've been hearing a lot of radio ads from maybe some law firms that say, "We're going to help you get out of those predatory timeshare," and I'm like, well, is that legit or not? And was curious if you heard much about those as well.
We do hear about those, and it's real hard because, without looking at the documents, and I'm not an attorney, but when they say they can cancel your timeshare or your contract, there's not many contracts you can cancel. Like, I can't just cancel my mortgage and stop paying it. Right. But a lot of those companies will tell the people to stop paying the fees, and then they'll tell the timeshare, they'll send them a cease and desist and say, "Don't talk to this client." Well, you're still racking up those fees. Yeah. And so you're not really paying for anything.
Right.
right? So, I mean, I can't really say if it's good or it's bad, but I know that's some of our experience with them.
Good points. Good information.
Absolutely. Always, always great information. Really enjoying this.
Well, I hope the CD and the Yeti cooler makes her feel better.
I have a feeling it will. Beverly, congratulations.
So, Beverly, gee.
And that leaves a line open for you. 877-283-7570 is the number to call. We're going to go to Georgia to talk to Joe from Georgia. Go right ahead.
Well, Joe in Georgia.
Hey, Joe.
Going.
How
All
are you?
right. I'm just sitting here watching live on RFD, and I'm out of time. So anyway, long story short, I'm always getting these scam calls about they're going to reduce my credit card interest rates. They're going to pay off my student loan, and I'm 77 years old. Give me a break. You know, I got a student loan. I don't think so. Hey.
Hey, you just made an Oak Ridge boy laugh. You made Joe Bonzo laugh, Joe.
So I'm 77 years old. I don't have a student loan. Well, you know, that's how we do catch some of these scammers, because they do bark up a wrong tree once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. And that student loan scam and that reduction of credit card, I mean, that is one of the calls that we're all getting right now. You know, again, don't pick up your phone unless you absolutely know who's calling. And if you do want to lower your interest rate with your credit card, call your credit card first. Do not take an unsolicited pitch over the phone, because they're going to do nothing but steal from you.
Okay. I got a beautiful email the other day from Wells Fargo about my account being in all kinds of trouble. I had to click on the blue line and send all kind of information into Wells Fargo, but I don't have an account with Wells Fargo.
Exactly. They were hoping you did.
That was barking up the wrong tree a little bit there.
Wow. Okay, Nancy from Florida. Thanks for joining the conversation. Go right ahead.
Yes.
Nancy.
Hello, Nancy.
Hi. My name is Nancy, yes, from Florida. My granddaughter was just scammed this past weekend by somebody advertising a puppy on the internet.
Right.
And she was wanting a puppy very, very bad. So she fell for it. She wanted it. Hi.
Wow.
Yeah,
scams.
Sadly, puppy scams are very popular, and people don't even understand how a sweet little puppy can get involved in a scam. But how it works is you'll go online and you'll find this adorable, I mean, aren't all puppies adorable, but you'll find this adorable puppy for a pretty good price. You know, a lot of designer breed dogs go for like $4,000, but they'll be selling you this puppy for only $800. But they need you to send the money via either gift card, wire transfer, cash, or the latest thing is they'll ask for one of those peer-to-peer payment apps like Venmo and Zelle. Again, kind of untraceable. And they'll say we need it for shipping and handling or the grooming or the flight fees or whatever it is. You send them the money and you don't have any puppy at all. So if you're looking to buy a pet, do your research, you know, make sure you get references. Also, you can adopt from your local shelter.
That was my point I was about to bring up. Please go to your local shelter and
And
adopt
I've got one at
puppies
home.
and
I may
kittens.
just give her.
I got two, but I'm not getting rid of them. I love those dogs.
I'll pay the freight.
Stop.
Hope my family's not listening.
Yeah, exactly.
See how you can learn
listening.
something new every day? I just learned about a puppy scam.
I gotta tell you though, it's not just puppies. We've had cats.
No.
And this one is gonna get you a rare squirrel.
A rare squirrel.
There, we
That's
had
nuts.
A rare squirrel.
someone was trying to buy a rare
Nuts.
squirrel and got scammed.
Well,
I'll stop there.
Listen, we need another call.
Dee from Texas. We got one. We're going back to Texas
That's
for
squirrely.
Dwayne. Dee, thanks for joining the conversation. Go right ahead. Dee, are you with us?
Hello.
Hello.
This is Dee.
Hi, Dee.
We're ready.
I was scammed last week with a computer. I was on the computer while doing Facebook, and all of a sudden my screen turns blue, and then a voice comes on and said, well, they could correct the problem. I couldn't get nothing back on anything, Facebook or anything. And they said they could correct the problem and to call this number. So I did. I thought it was legit. And then we talked on, and she said, well, do you have a safety on your computer? And I knew I didn't, but I told her yes. And then she said, no, you don't have safety on your computer. I said, well, how do I get some? She said, well, you'd have to mail us $300. I said, I don't have $300. And she said, what do you mean you don't have $300? I said, well, lady, just what I told you. I don't have $300. And so she said, well, don't buy any safety measures for your computer till you talk to me again. And when can I call you back? I said, at 9 o'clock in the morning. And she said, 9 o'clock in the morning? Well, she must not get up early. And so, anyway, I just hung up, unplugged my computer for about 3 days, and got back on it, and everything's fine. But anytime that number comes up, I'm asking people, don't call it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that happen? How did that happen?
So we call it the tech support scam, but it's one of the most common scams that's out there. They're, again, kind of imposter scams, but they're pretending to be Microsoft or, Apple or anything like that. So somehow there's a website that you have visited, and they have attached kind of some malware to it, and so this pop-up comes up.
Gotcha.
Microsoft has told us, Dell and Apple have told us, they will never have you call a number or put a pop-up like that on your screen. This scam has affected everyone from teachers to CEOs of companies, because just like what happened to Dee, it just seemed so legitimate. But people have lost thousands and thousands of dollars.
So you can get the malware sometimes by clicking on the wrong blue line.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
You can get an email that says click here for this, that, or the other, and then you click there, and or sometimes it sounds like it's somebody you know, and they say click here. I've got some pictures you got to see, and you click there, and the malware gets on your computer, and then they have you.
Yeah, and that's why it's really important for anyone out there who has a computer to make sure you have your virus protections up to date on your computer and you run scans. If you're not sure on how to do that, ask someone in your family maybe who's comfortable with computers. Even go to your local library and see if they have someone there that has some tech support that they can help you with, because that will eliminate some of the malware that they can attach, but that's a huge scam. So thank you for sharing that story.
If I could give another suggestion, if you have a Mac or an Apple product, there is an application called Clean My Mac, which is a great application. It will clean all the bad stuff out, and there's even a place there that will seek through your laptop or whatever and find malware and get rid of it if you have any there. So Clean My Mac is a good, I think, thing to have.
I love it. I love getting tech tips as well from the Oak Ridge boys.
We learn both ways.
Yeah, that's right. No, this is a fantastic conversation, and that leaves a line open for you, 877-283-7570. That is the number to call and join the conversation. We're going to go to Pennsylvania. By the way,
It's my home state.
Dee, you were a winner. We didn't give Dee the kudos that she deserved. Congratulations, Dee. You are a winner. You get the
Dee,
CD and you get the Yeti cooler. Okay.
You get the CD inside the Yeti cooler.
And you got a picnic waiting to happen. Greer from Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining us, Greer. Go right ahead. You are on.
Hello, Greer.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're good.
Good. I just wanted to say, you say if you have caller ID. Well, you do have it on your cell phone, but my home phone, I get all kinds of calls on my home phone. And because I put caller ID on it, because it's so expensive, I can't answer it until somebody picks, till the answer machine picks up. And I don't think it's right that they can call. I mean, those rotor calls aren't going to help me because I don't have caller ID. But my telephone bill was $90, and I had the caller ID and the call waiting taken off, and it went down to $25.
Wow.
And that's a lot when you're on a limited income.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's something that if you don't have caller ID, one of the best recommendations that I tell people is to have whether it's a note, a Post-it note, something by your phone. If you are someone that does pick up your phone and you're not screening your calls, it reminds you that this person that you pick up the phone might be a scammer. So for me, it would say, Amy, remember, don't give personal information or credit card number. This might be a scammer. Because oftentimes, and I've talked to so many victims, oftentimes they're just caught off guard. They're caught off guard, they pick up the phone, they're watching a show, and all of a sudden someone's fast talking to them, they get them under the ether, and then the next thing you know, they're giving their social security number away. So that little piece of paper by your phone can kind of set you back into the present moment and for you to say no to whatever that person is pitching you on the phone.
That's a great idea.
Excellent.
It's a great idea right there.
Greer, thank you so much for that call. That leaves a line open for you, 877-283-7570. Before we go to break, Sean, you wanted to share some more red flags, especially when it comes to online dating.
Yeah, and it's really important. We've talked about a few of them, or kind of alluded to those, and it's important, the red flags to know if you are in an online relationship, and these are big red flags for you to be aware of and ask a lot of questions. The first one is the fake picture, and there's an ability to do an internet image search to see if photo matches the person's name or belongs to someone else. So if you're on Google, press images and you'll be able to find out if that picture is associated with someone else. The next flag, details don't match the photo. Let's say they have hazel eyes, but the photo shows brown eyes, and that may be hard to distinguish, but are the body features similar to what they're saying they are? I think the third red flag is one that's really important as well, and that is being able to match up the wrong state for the city they live in. And so do your search for the town and state to make sure that sounds accurate. So if you're from Enid, Oklahoma, and it says Enid, Arkansas, that's a red flag. The fourth one, the profile list the dating age, which is much older or much younger than their own age. So big discrepancies in younger and older dating habits, so beware of those as well. And the last red flag is they say they're well educated, but their grammar doesn't reflect the level of education. So there's a lot of ain'ts, and they're saying they're a PhD. That's probably a red flag.
Misspelled words,
misspelled
all those things,
capitalization, punctuation.
Holes in their story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Amy and I were talking earlier, and it was like, this is really organized crime. And that's it finally resonated with me that, if you're scammed, you lose your money, and it's not, just going to somebody in another city. It's going to syndicated crime syndicates that, could be in foreign countries and
organizations.
I know.
Wow.
It's very sophisticated.
Okay. And often it's other countries.
Yeah.
Let's just get that on the table as well. Yeah. Okay. Which countries, by the way, are the more prominent countries that we're seeing this?
Really, they're coming from everywhere. And they're also coming from America. They have people working here. So, regardless of where they're located, just know the red flags to protect yourself so you don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And hopefully one day we can get other governments involved as well, because this is becoming a bigger issue every day. All right. That's why we want to get you involved in this conversation. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we still have a Yeti cooler to give away along with a CD from the Oak Ridge Boys. Join the conversation. 877-283-7570 is the number to call. One more time. We want to get your call in. 877-283-7570. We are glad you're with us. We'll be right back.
Really good. Excellent.
All right, everybody on the phone, this is Christina. We're in a commercial break, but I just wanted to let you know we are going to take more phone calls as soon as we return to the show. We really appreciate your patience. And hey, if you get to join the conversation and talk to an Oak Ridge boy or just get some amazing information from our experts, Sean and Amy, we would love to have you on. So stay with us. We have another Yeti cooler to give away as well. And I want to remind you to please turn down your television if we do take your call on the air so we don't get that feedback. Also, I will say your name and then go right ahead. And so you can just go right ahead with your question. You don't have to wait. And since we have a little extra time, I'm going to let the Oak Ridge boys say hi to you.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. Is this our callers?
Yeah, they're waiting.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys and girls.
Hang in
Thank you.
there.
Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome back. We still have a Yeti cooler to give away, and we're going to open up our phone lines for your questions. For Joe Bonsall, Dwayne Allen, and of course our experts with AARP. We're going to go right to the phones. We don't want to waste any time. Todd from Oklahoma.
Oh, great.
Ah, that's right. Go right ahead, Todd.
Good evening. How are you guys?
We're good.
We're great.
I can't believe I'm talking to Joe Bonsall and Dwayne Allen from the Oak Ridge Boys. Awesome.
Well,
We're
thank
waiting
you,
for your call, Todd.
I'm disabled, and my question is the Medicare calls. How can you tell if they are legit or not?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, great question. Medicare will never call you unsolicited. You need to be having a relationship with them. And if Medicare calls you asking for your Medicare number, it's not Medicare, because trust me, they know your number.
Same with Social Security there.
Same with Social Security. And one thing I'll say is, there was a change on your Medicare card last year. They took your Social Security number off, which was great to help protect you from identity theft. But the thing is, one of the things we found out is that people were more free giving of their new Medicare number. You still need to keep that number protected and safe, because there are Medicare scams out there that want to bill against that number. Right? Like we just went through the DNA swab scam, and that charged Medicare billions of dollars. And that's all going to be charged back to you guys. So great question. Keep your Medicare number safe. And if you have any questions, just call 1-800-MEDICARE and find out if it was legitimate or not.
Excellent.
And again, same with Social Security.
Yeah, absolutely.
Social Security will send you stuff in the mail. They will more than likely never call you.
Yep.
So if somebody calls saying we're from Social Security, red flag.
Yeah, great.
Red flag. Okay, we are actually, I'm going to pitch the number because I was just told in my ear from my producer that the Oak Ridge Boys will answer any questions you have for the remainder of this show. They're an open book, is what I'm being told. So, hey, on that note, 877-283-7570. One more time, get those calls in, 877-283-7570. We're going to go to Florida to talk to Lee. Lee, you are a winner. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, I want to say thank you to AARP. I am a member for all you're doing. This has been a huge problem for me, and thank you to the Oak Ridge Boys. I'm a huge fan. I've seen you many times in concert, have most of your music.
Thank you.
But I've had my most recent scan was just a couple weeks ago. I moved into a new home, and I got new appliances, and I put the others on, even on our local Ocala, Florida, for sale website to get the old appliances sold and out. And I had somebody call me and convince me that they were in the military and they had recently been relocated, but they had their stuff being shipped to them, and they really wanted to buy the refrigerator. And they were going to send me money, but a check that day, and he said he was out west. Well, then he said he's going to send a little more for his driver that's going to pick it up. And I just happened to mention it to my son, and he's like, Mom, don't do it. That's a scam. That's a scam. And I was like, really? He sounded so nice and everything. So then he said the check was coming, and it didn't come for a few days. And all of a sudden, I get this check that's like 10 times more than what I'm selling it for. And when I text the guy and kind of called him on it, and I said, my son thinks you're a scam, and so do I. Then he starts threatening me, and then his broken English came out. It was like he was mad. And I was like, I called my son, and I said, you're right, because now that he's mad, he's not making any sense. So I was like, I feel like it's like you can't feel safe. So, what do you do? Just do everything in person? I don't know. We've gone to such high technologies.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that story, and I'm glad you didn't lose any money, Lee. That's a big scam that's out there, especially when people are trying to sell stuff on like classifieds, like Craigslist, for example, or any of those other kind of websites out there. I just even heard a story recently that happened to someone I came in contact with, right? They were selling something. They send you a check. The check is fake, but you don't know the check is fake, and oftentimes the bank doesn't know the check is fake. So then you deposit the check, and they say, okay, now I just need you to wire the rest of the money back. Right, or send it in gift cards. And then the bank will contact you 2 weeks later, and they'll say that check was fake. And then you're left standing with the overdraft fees, the money that you've already sent them. Just know that when you sign the back of a check, you're actually taking responsibility for that check. So with your question about how do you sell, I would prefer to sell locally, and I would also, just even for personal safety, there's a lot of police stations that actually have like a parking spot where they'll have you where you can meet in a public place, just for even personal safety. I don't really have any other better advice, but just keep yourself safe, and just don't take any unsolicited checks like that.
Okay. I heard the same thing with fraudulent hay sales to farmers and ranchers that I need to buy 100 bales from you, and then they like give the check to the farmer, and it's more, and they're like, I forgot to add the freight or the hauling costs, and so that's something I just noticed recently as well. So it doesn't matter
they
what.
cover every single. There's nothing uncovered, is there?
Yeah.
They'll steal you anyway.
Not just puppies, there's kittens.
Yes.
And not just a refrigerator, but hay.
And squirrels.
And squirrels.
Rare squirrels.
I've learned so much tonight.
All right, that leaves a line open for you, 877-283-7570. We can still get your call in, 877-283-7570. We're going to go to Georgia to talk with Jerry. Thanks for joining us. Go right ahead.
Hello, Joe and Dwayne. My name is Jerry down in Georgia.
Jerry?
And, I pastor a church here, Assembly of God here.
Good for you.
And just have enjoyed your music for years and years and years. I've enjoyed Dwayne's wife on Country Reunion and his daughter-in-law. But I think married to Marty Stewart's band member. Just enjoyed the music for many, 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 many years. I got a question about an album I bought at Cracker Barrel. It was the Old Hymns album, and my goodness, it's got a song on there called "Peace Within," and you guys sing "Time Has Made a Change in Me" and "Hold of God's Unchanging Hand," and I just want to tell you what a treasure that album has been to me. I'm tenderhearted. And,
Thank you. I'll tell you a little. I was going to tell you a little story about that song. Dwayne Allen had that song on hold for probably 20 years. He has always loved Peace Within, and Dwayne is one of the best songmen in this town. He knows when a song is good, and he never throws it away or puts it aside. And when we had the opportunity to record that Hymns album, Dwayne brought that song out again, and our producer at the time was Ben Isaacs, produced that Hymns album, and said, man, we could put Peace Within on here. It's not like really an old hymn like "Oh Rugged Cross" or Amazing Grace, but it fits because it's just such a good song. And then the Isaacs sang on there with us. So if you listen at the end of Peace Within, you'll hear the Isaacs actually singing on there with the Oak Ridge Boys. It's very, 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 very cool cut. And thank you, man.
Dwayne, what's that like?
to hear that, knowing that you fought for this song and someone out there appreciates it so much?
I don't know. It's just, I always knew it was a great song. It just thrilled me. The first time I heard it, it's almost like painting a picture for me. It's like having a baby. You find a new song. It's like teaching a baby how to walk, and you build that song. You find the right people to sing it and put the right voices with it, the right musicians around it, get the right studio, you get the right feel. And this was just right to put it on that album. And if you notice, the title of the album is Hymns and Gospel Favorites. Well, the reason for Gospel Favorites is because Peace Within is not a hymn. But we added that on there so we could put that song on there. And I just thought it was such a great song. And when the Isaacs came along and we got the opportunity to have them sing with us, I asked Sonia, I said, when you are around in the kitchen and you hear something playing on the radio and you just want to sing along and hum it and feel it from your soul, and you go, and your whole soul cries out, I want to hear that. Listen to that album. Listen to that song, and you'll hear her soul cry out. Peace Within,
I love
and
that.
you'll hear it crying out. That's Sonia Isaacs.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we're going to go to final thoughts now. This has been such an amazing hour, but let's go ahead to the final thoughts. We've only got a little bit of time left.
Sure. Well, again, a big thank you, the Oak Ridge Boys, Joe and Dwayne. It's been an honor with the partnership that we're working with you, with the Fraud Watch Network and Department of Justice, and we're blessed that you're a part of that and helping to let your fans and broaden the audience about how to protect yourself against frauds and scams. And
I'm glad.
just hats off, and it means a lot to us. And
Happy
thank you.
to be here. I've learned a lot tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I've learned a lot from you tonight.
Yeah,
This
thank
is
you.
great.
Thank you.
And Amy.
Yeah, I want to tell people about a podcast on NPR. It's called Dating While Gray. I mean, right? We talked about romance scams tonight, and people are looking for love. So you can go to Dating While Gray and listen to that podcast. And also, I just want to remind everyone that we have the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline. It's a free resource for anyone of any age. You don't have to be an AARP member. You can call. The number's on your screen, and you can talk to a trained fraud volunteer about your situation. And as they said earlier, report your scam and talk to somebody about it. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed. It happens to all of us.
All of us.
All of us.
And these criminals are getting even smarter, which is why you are as well. And that's what we appreciate so much about having you on these shows. You're empowering people. You know, peace within is something that comes from above.
Yes, it does.
But peace in this world comes from being alert, being aware, being prepared, and watching out for the people who are coming after you. Knowledge is power, and that is what you're spreading. And I just love being a part of what you do.
That was incredibly said.
Thank you. All right, we are so happy for you to be a part of this. This is a really special show for us tonight. That about does it for us. We want to remind you to join us March 20th for the next Rural America Live with AARP. We're so glad you were with us tonight. The Oak Ridge Boys on set with us. Of course, we're going to continue to bring you shows like this with AARP. As we know, we are going to see the scammers get smarter, and we know that you are in front of it. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. Really glad you were with us. Wishing you and your family a beautifully blessed evening.